Alright, hi guys, I'm Daniel, D-Rod, call me whatever you want. And I had this great elaborate opening speech set up, but I just got back from the dock and I had an experience that really sort of embodied why I'm here. And I was talking with a freshman and I explained how I had this debate because I'm running for SGA president, and she goes, "What's SGA?" So I feel that since my first day here, I haven't really felt a connection to this school's student government, and I feel like that's an extremely important thing for the school to have. And I have this mentality where if I want something done, I feel it's best to do it myself. And so I realize that I'm coming out of left field here, but this is not my first time representing the student body. I was on first year advisory board last year, where I focused on helping improve students' first year experience by working with administrators and other student programs like PACE. And so working on transparency is one of the big things on my platform, as well as better integrating things like Greek life and multicultural organizations with the rest of the campus to increase both school spirit and just improve the environment within this campus as a whole.
Hi everyone, my name is Max Zoberman. I'm the current Vice President of the Student Government Association. The presidency of the Student Government Association is a unique position. It's a position that manages over $2.5 million worth of your money. It oversees the effective funding and function of every student organization university-wide, and it serves as the primary point of communication between the entire student body and the administration. And so generally, the most successful SGA presidents have been people who have a clear sense of where we've been and where we're going. Now, I've served in the Student Government Association for 2.5 years. I've served in 2 branches in 3 separate capacities. And during that period of time, I've not been perfect. And I acknowledge that. I've gotten it wrong. But for better or for worse, I've spent all 2.5 of those years advocating on behalf of students in important areas like communication and safety and community building and institutional reform. And the thing about the SGA presidency is that a lot of the time, to really appreciate what it looks like to get it right, you need to have gotten it wrong. And so I intend to use my experience in the student government and everything that has happened, everything that I've seen happen over the course of the last 2.5 years to build a more safe, and more inclusive Emory, and I want to do that with you. So somebody lovingly referred to my platform to me once as the Zober Manifesto, which I appreciate. It is a 5-page document. It includes something around 24 platform points, and so I can understand how there'd be some fear that I would get lost in that things wouldn't get done. The key there is delegation, and I take my cue on the issue of delegation from the presidents that have come before me. I take my cue from John Darby, I take my cue from Raj Tilwa. They also ran on very ambitious platforms. And what I've found to be the case over the last 2 years is that nothing doesn't get done. One way or another, everything gets done. And the way that you do that is understanding who you're surrounded by. And that's not just the executive, that's not just the executive board, it's not just the quote-unquote inner circle, it's everyone. It's every legislator, it's every student activist, it's every organization president, it's every new student who comes to Emory believing that Emory is going to be what they believe it to be. So I know that my platform is long. I know that there are some things on there that seem far-fetched, but it can get done. You know, when I say I want to, when my campaign slogan says I want to build a better Emory and I want to do it together, it's not just a slogan. You know, it's a safety measure. It's a fail-safe. It's saying, I know that there's a lot to do, and to get it done, we're going to have to work together. So that's how I intend on getting it done. I intend to delegate and work with students. Oh, wait, there was a second part to that question, wasn't there? There was what's most important to me. I apologize, I know I'm running up on my time limit. The way I've characterized what's most important to me in my platform is by thinking about what would I do even if I weren't elected? You know, what am I most passionate about? And for me, that boils down to campus safety. So the one part of my platform that I would get done, regardless of whether or not I was elected, the thing I feel most passionate about is bringing It's On Us to Emory as an academic partner and bringing psychological services surrounding mental health and self-harm.
Right, so to answer the first part of your question, how do I hope to get that to happen? Actually, I'm meeting with the LSO, the Latino Student Organization, on Monday, and I've reached out to BSA, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. And my way of going about this would first off absolutely meet with these groups and see what their biggest complaints are on campus. And I think that what I'm going to find is that their complaints are going to be pretty uniform. From my experience, both as a minority and someone who's in Greek life, is that these groups are very isolated within Emory. We've become very secularized, and when you're part of these groups, you get stuck in this isolated organization. And so what I would hope to accomplish from bringing these groups together and holding bigger joint events with the rest of the campus is to remove these barriers that these groups have created around themselves. And by doing that, I think that we'll just improve this campus environment as a whole.
Sure. So I'm going to preface this by saying that these ideas are ideas that have been works in progress for quite some time, and that applies to a lot of the initiatives that make the greatest impact, is that they last over multiple administrations and requires a lot of time to get done. The purpose of the funds are also in flux, not just how we're going to get them done, but what they're going to look like. And so what the endowment does or could do that the Student Experience Fund does not necessarily do is that it goes beyond the definition of a hardship fund. It goes beyond subsidizing activities for students in need, which is of paramount importance. But what the student government needs to do is also say to student organizations, regardless of need, we support your efforts. And so one of the things that we would like the endowment to do is help subsidize philanthropic efforts on behalf of student organizations like Volunteer at Emory, like the AFIO Service Fraternity. So that would be the extension, is making sure that students not only have the opportunity to participate in their campus, but the community as well.
So, one of the reasons why I'm here is I just haven't seen enough change and positive change within things like transparency, things that candidates run for and say that they're going to improve every year. And coming as an outsider, I've really been able to notice things, and through this outsider's perspective, be able to come at the presidency with a new mindset. And that's one that I'm absolutely going to get things done. And through my previous experiences, I've really been able to realize that I value success as a tangible thing, as when I get something done, that it's success. It's not looking at, I think I'm going to get this done, I have this plan that's successful. No, it's absolutely pulling through and getting, and succeeding. And yeah.
So yeah, in the last 2 minutes, we've heard the term insider and outsider from the Twitter question, and also from Daniel. And here's my problem with the characterization of the concept of insider and outsider, and the use of the terms insider and outsider, is that it embraces the idea that there are insiders and outsiders. That's a problem. The fact that people feel like there are insiders and that they are outsiders is a problem. It's the student government. We're all students. I'm not a professional legislator, I'm not a professional politician, I go to classes. I have 8:30s, I have 5 p.m.s, I have extracurriculars outside of the student government. We are all insiders, or at least that's how it should be. And that's why a third of my platform is dedicated to opening the student government up to student participation, changing the way that the executive communicates with the student body via state of campus addresses, changing the way that legislators connect with students through town hall events specifically dedicated to legislators and their constituencies, changing fundamentally the kind of initiatives that we pursue, not just the broad subjective concepts of institutional reform and communication that matter to members of student government, but also the grassroots initiatives like extending reading periods to be equal to that of peer institutions. Things like working on front-loaded and subsidized printings the same way that previous SGAs have worked on that issue for laundry services. That is how we change the characterization of insider and outsider. So yes, I've been in the student government for 2.5 years, but what that has done for me has not made me callous to the interests of students, but has given me a greater appreciation for how much work it actually takes to get important things done for students. And so that's why I want to be president, because I don't believe that there is, and I don't believe that there should be, the concept of insider and outsider. I don't believe that I'm an insider. I'm a student.
Yeah. So originally I was planning on running for the BBA's SGA representative, but when I finally looked at the checkbox, I was like, I want to do bigger things, and that requires more power and more influence. And so, no, it wasn't an accident. It was sort of a big decision. And I think because of that, I've definitely had a slow start to this campaign, and I'm more than willing to admit to that. But at the end of the day, I have big aspirations, and I want to see big changes on this campus. And I felt that the best way to go about doing that was to run for president. I think we've tried to do this in the past, and it hasn't worked. However, I don't think we should give that up. I think one of the things I really want to do is increase school spirit, and so I think the answer to that question really is to both try once again to increase the student activity fee, but then also try to raise money for Emory's SGA. I think going through that 1-2 process would have a more effective increase to the amount of money that we have to work with as SGA. And having more money would allow us to have more events, more campus-wide events. Part of my platform is obviously increasing the scale of events that multicultural organizations hold, and we'd obviously need money to do that. And so I think that with the right marketing and with the right approach to it, we can succeed on both.
So, two things about the student activities fee that I think are important to understand. First of all, the student activities fee naturally rises to keep up with inflation. The second thing is that divisions can participate in raising the student activities fee as well. That's administrative bodies, not student leaders, for various projects, initiatives, and goals. And there are divisional priorities that involve increase the student activities fee outside of student leadership. What happened last year with the student activities fee is not that it was necessarily a bad idea, but that we as an organization were part of what basically was a profound failure to communicate with the student body. That's what that was. You know, there are real purposes for an increase to the student activities fee. Things like seeding the student experience fund that everyone's been talking about all night. That requires money. And the problem is that people didn't understand when we proposed that referendum the first time that that's what it was going to be for, and that's our fault. It's our fault that students didn't understand. So I don't know if there's going to be a need to increase the student activities fee moving forward. I don't know what the plans of the divisions are. You know, the amount of money that we work with in some ways changes all the time. But what I do know is that if that ever becomes a possibility again, we're going to have to prove to the student body first what we'll be using it for and why it's important. There needs to be a proof of purpose first. And I think that the changes that are being proposed to the way that the SGA communicates with the student body will go miles toward that purpose. So I don't know if the student activities fee needs to be raised again. It's a matter of need. I don't know if we can achieve goals at the SEF without raising the student activities fee yet. But if we do, it will require a very, very honest and very well done conversation with the student body before anything happens.
So at the end of the day, in terms of the problems that Emory faces and the problems that need to be solved, I think both Max and I realize that they're clear. Their safety, their transparency, their reacting to the changes in social environments that we're seeing today and that we've felt the brunt of the force of this year. And the fact of the matter is that what we need is someone who's going to represent the student body as a whole and connect with them. And that's going to help out with all the before mentioned. And as a candidate, I am transparent and I am blunt. And at the end of the day, when you remove all the lofty verbiage, the fancy wording, what you have left are two things, the important things, the vision and determination. And I really think that I have both of those qualities that are most important. They're really what's going to help us succeed and improve the Emory experience as a whole.
First of all, I want to thank you guys for giving us the opportunity tonight. And second of all, I want to address some things that Daniel just said. I couldn't agree more. That the next president does need to have vision. He does need to represent the university as a whole. The things that I've been running on, communications, safety, and institutional reform, have not changed since my second semester of freshman year. That's the vision. It's a vision that I've taken with me into every position in the student government. It's the vision that I would take with me into the presidency. The university is at a really transitional period right now. There are a lot of deep and profound wounds in terms of community and unity, in terms of racial and ethnic diversity and identity. The university's president will be transitioning in the fall. And I want to use the lessons of the past and my experience with the Student Government Association, with the student body, to help frame where we are as a university for the new president. I want to use that experience to help heal some of those wounds. And so what I'm asking for from the student body is not a position or an office. I am asking for the opportunity to finish a lot of very important work that has been in progress for a very long time. And to do that work, I need the resources of the student government. I need the support of the student government. I'm asking you for that opportunity. I'm asking you for the opportunity to build a safer, more inclusive Emory, and I'm asking for the opportunity to do it with you.